Alright, welcome everyone to my first video in Tears of the Kingdom. And in this video I actually want to show some quite useful and funny vehicles that I created, and also some concept for building vehicles, so something that can be used on different builds. And I have not seen something like this before, but I think it's quite a cool thing to use in some of the vehicles. But let's just start with the general one. So basically there is already the quite classic vehicle for exploring the depths, that basically if you have two fans attached to a steering stick, then you have a very lightweight flying machine. And people have also already tried to build something that uses only one fan, and for flying this one right here does not really work. But what I figured out for this specific combination is that it's actually a quite good low budget boat. So it only uses two pieces, so it only costs 6 sonite if you want to build it. And as you can see, all it is basically a fan and a steering stick that is attached to it like sideways, so that it goes diagonal down. And the cool thing is, like, you can just put this somewhere in the water and basically then climb on the steering stick and start it. And as you can see, it goes quite fast, and even if you fall off in the middle of the water somewhere, then it will just basically in almost all cases stand upright, and you can just go onto it again and then start driving through the water. So I'm sure somebody else has already figured that one out too, so that's not actually what I want to show in this video. I just thought that would be a nice little introduction maybe, because actually the first thing that I want to show builds on top of that and also introduces the concept that basically all the vehicles that I want to show in this video are based on. So basically all that I did for my first vehicle was to add a shock emitter at the bottom of this combination right here. So still a pretty cheap vehicle if you want to rebuild it. And now the thing is, if I put this into the water like that, I can basically drive around just like before. However, as there's a shock emitter, at least now if I try to start it, I just immediately get shocked. So just like that, it doesn't really make sense. However, as there are some ways in this game for Link to get immune to getting shocked, basically you can create a vehicle that shocks everything it gets close to without actually damaging yourself. So for the purpose of this video I will just use the Thunder Helmet, because it's the easiest and also permanent solution, but you can also use some shock immunity food or medicine or any other way that works. And if you don't know how to get the Thunder Helmet, I will also put a link to a video in the description where basically it describes how to do the quest that you need in order to get this. But basically now, as you can see, I have this electric field around my boat, but I myself am not getting hurt because I'm immune to shocks. And now, for example, if I swim through this place here, you can see, I'm not sure where exactly that was, but I think I saw some fish here earlier. But basically one thing that you can do with a vehicle like this, of course you can also attack enemies, which is also nice, but one thing that I really find useful is that you can basically use it for fishing, because as I said, I just have to drive close basically to a group of fish and they will just immediately die and go to the surface of the water. And then let's say I would have killed some fish now, I could also just stop and hop off the vehicle, like even if I was in the middle of the ocean, collect whatever I need to collect, and then go back and basically climb on the vehicle and start driving again. So here are some fish, for example, and as you see I just have to get close to them and it basically auto fishes them for me, so I don't have to shoot them or anything. And now, okay, now it doesn't really stand upright, but like usually after a few attempts, if you just go on the vehicle and try to move it somehow, then you can start the steering stick again. So now, for example, I'm trying to attack this enemy right here, and once again I just have to come close and it gets shocked and automatically dies. Then I can collect all the materials that drop, and then I can just climb on the vehicle again, make it in a upright position and start to continue driving. So that's basically in and of itself a cool thing to use in the water. However, unfortunately, as soon as you go on land, these shock emitters usually don't really do that much, because you have to get quite close to an enemy in order for them to actually do some damage to the enemy. However, I found a trick that basically makes this concept of the shocking field also usable on land, and that is if you simply combine a shock emitter and a hydrant. And the thing, okay, that's actually a good thing to showcase that it's choo-choo jelly just spawned here. So basically all I need is a shock emitter and a hydrant, and then I just attach them like this and start it, and now I basically have an invisible force field, as you will see. So the enemy just got about here, and as you can see, everything that gets shocked will get shocked if it goes somewhat close to this entire area. And as I am lightning proof in that current state, that means I can just stand here and no enemy can attack me, at least not directly. Of course, it doesn't protect you from long range attacks, but if they try to walk close to you, then they will just get shocked. And I mean, this is the basic concept, and now the thing is that you can of course combine this with vehicles. So for example, one problem that I also had in the past is basically if I try to build a vehicle like this that just drives into a group of enemies and kills them with like this homing card and also the construct head with the lasers attached to it, then sometimes they would just knock it over somehow, and then of course it couldn't really drive anymore. However, if I just put this combination of the hydrant and the shock emitter on top of this thing, then it basically also has this invisible force field, so if any enemy gets too close to it, it will just automatically get shocked, so they cannot really knock it over or attack it. Of course, you could also use a stabilizer if you just want that the vehicle stands upright, but I think this way is cooler. Also, the cool thing about this one is that basically you don't need the thunder helmet, as this is the auto car that just homes in on enemies, so you can also remote activate it and you will not get shocked. And the final version that I want to show, basically also using the same concept, is this right here, which is, I wouldn't really call it a tank, but just a normal vehicle, so there are no cannons or anything attached, but at the front and at the back there's also two pieces basically of this combination of hydrant and shock emitter. So that means I have basically a double force field, one that goes around the back of the vehicle and one that goes around the front of the vehicle, and I also put some plates here at the sides just so that enemies with bows cannot like shoot Link with an arrow easily. And so with that basically I can also just drive around and I just have to get close to the enemies, so I don't actually have to do anything myself, like to take them out. For example, this Lysarthos right there. And then I just have to get close to it, and then I can basically stay in place with the vehicle going back and forth, and it will just get shocked over and over until it's dead. And yeah, as I said, because of the plates on the side, even enemies with bows don't really, cannot really do much about it. So if you have enough battery power, then you can basically just stay in that thing and go back and forth until all the enemies are dead. And that already concludes my first video on this game, so let's just end it up with also testing the vehicle on this Lysarthos. And also, as there's a thing on the back as well, so even if the enemy attacks me from behind, it will get shocked. So there you can see, basically they cannot really do anything, and I can just stay in place. Alright, so that's it, and see you next time.